Thurl Arthur Ravenscroft was an American voice actor and basso profundo known as the booming voice behind Tony the Tiger's Their Greet in Kellogg's Frosted Flakes television commercials for more than 5 decades. Ravenscroft was also known, albeit uncredited, as the vocalist for the song You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch from the classic Christmas television special, Dr. Seuss' How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Ravenscroft did some voiceover work and singing for Disney in both the films and the attractions at Disneyland. The most well-known of these attractions are the Haunted Mansion, Country Bear Jamboree, the Mark Twain Riverboat, Pirates of the Caribbean, Disneyland Railroad, and Walt Disney's Enchanted Room. His voice acting career began in 1940 and lasted until his death in 2005 at age 91. Early life and career: Ravenscroft left his native Norfolk, Nebraska, for California in 1933, where he studied at Otis Art Institute. He achieved early success as part of a singing group called the Mellomen. The Mellomen can be heard on many popular recordings of the big band era, including backup for Bing Crosby, Frankie Laine, Spike Jones, Joe Stafford and Rosemary Clooney. Their earliest contribution to a Disney film was for Pinocchio, to which they contributed the song Honest John. This was deleted from the film but can still be heard in the supplements on the 2009 DVD. They also contributed to other Disney films, such as Alice in Wonderland and Lady and the Tramp. The group appeared on camera in a few episodes of the Disney Anthology television series, in one instance recording a canine chorus for Lady and the Tramp, and on another occasion playing a barbershop quartet that reminds Walt Disney of the name of the young newspaper reporter Gallagher. Ravenscroft could also be heard with the quartet on some of the Merry Melodies and Looney Tunes with Mel Blanc at Warner Brothers and be heard on radio driving Jack Benny crazy on his radio show, as well as Blanc. During World War II, Ravenscroft served as a civilian navigator contracted to the U.S. Air Transport Command, spending 5 years flying courier missions across the North and South Atlantic. Among the notables carried on board his flights were Winston Churchill and Bob Hope. As he told an interviewer, "I flew Winston Churchill to a conference in Algiers and flew Bob Hope to the troops a couple of times. So it was fun." Ravenscroft sang bass on Rosemary Clooney's This Ole House, which went to #1 in both the US and Britain in 1954, as well as Stuart Hamble's original version of that same song. He sang on the soundtrack for Ken Clarke's Stew Pot and South Pacific, one of the top-selling albums of the 1950s. Singing with the Johnny Mann Singers, his distinctive bass can also be heard as part of the chorus on 28 of their albums that were released during the 1960s and 1970s. He was also the bass singer on Bobby V's 1960 Liberty hit record Devil or Angel. Andy Williams' recording of the 12 Days of Christmas features him as well. In the 1980s and 1990s, Ravenscroft was narrator for the annual pageant of the Masters Art Show at the Laguna Beach, California, Festival of the Arts. He sang the opening songs for the 2 Disney serials, used on the Mickey Mouse Club, Boys of the Western Sea, and The Hardy Boys, Mystery of the Applegate Treasure. He sang the Twitter Patter song, and Thumper's song on the Disneyland record Peter Cottontail and Other Funny Bunnies. On the Disneyland record All About Dragons, he both provided the narration and sang the songs The Reluctant Dragon, and The Loch Ness Monster. His voice is heard during the Pirates of the Caribbean ride as well as the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland as Uncle Theodore, the lead vocalist of the singing busts in the cemetery near the end of the ride. He also played the narrator in the story and song from the Haunted Mansion. Ravenscroft is also heard in the Enchanted Room as the voice of Fritz the animatronics parrot. He was also the voice of the Disneyland Railroad in the 1990s. Further roles include that of the first mate on the Mark Twain Riverboat and of the American bison head named Buff at the Country Bear Jamboree. Later career: one of Ravenscroft's best-known uncredited works is as the vocalist for the song You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. His name was accidentally left out of the credits, leading many to believe that the cartoon's narrator, Boris Karloff, sang the song, while others cited Tennessee Ernie Ford as the song's signature voice. Ravenscroft also sang No Dogs Allowed in the Peanuts animated motion picture Snoopy, Come Home and I Was a Teenaged Brain Surgeon for Spike Jones. For more than 50 years, He was the uncredited voice of Tony the Tiger for Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. His booming bass gave the cereal's tiger mascot a voice with the catchphrase "Good? The grrreat." Various record companies, such as Abbott, Coral, Brunswick, and X also released singles by Ravenscroft, often in duets with little-known female vocalists, in an attempt to turn the bass-voiced veteran into a pop singer. These efforts were commercially unsuccessful, if often quite interesting. He was also teamed up with the Andrews Sisters on the cover of Johnny Cymbals' Mr. Bass Man. The Mellomen released some doo-wop records under the name Big John and the Buzzards, a name apparently given to them by the rock and roll-hating Mitch Miller. His lifelong dream he shared in an interview in 1999 with Peter Anthony Holder was to record the entire Bible on tape, but a big-name actor beat him out. However, being a devoted Christian, he appeared on many religious television shows such as The Hour of Power. Later life and death, Ravenscroft was married to June Ravenscroft in 1946, they had 2 children. June died in 1999 from unknown causes. Ravenscroft semi-retired and didn't work at any other studio anymore but continued to voice Tony the Tiger through 2004 with limo transportation by Kellogg's and sometimes from his apartment home, and also submitted to an interview that year by the Disney Extinct Attractions Club website. He died in his home on May 22, 2005 from prostate cancer. He was survived by his 2 children, Ron Ravenscroft and Nancy Ravenscroft. He was buried at the Memorial Gardens at the Crystal Cathedral in Garden Grove, California. In the June 6, 2005 issue of the ad industry journal Advertising Age, Kellogg's ran an ad commemorating Ravenscroft. The headline read, "Behind every great character is an even greater man." After his death, Lee Marshall replaced him as the voice of Tony the Tiger in the Kellogg's commercials, and some commercials recycle clips of Ravenscroft. Filmography: Pinocchio, Monstro, Dumbo, a Euro singer of Look Out for Mr. Stork, and Pink Elephants on Parade, The Nifty 90s, singer, Saludos Amigos, singer of Saludos Amigos theme songs, Melody Time, singer, Big Toot, Alice in Wonderland, a Euro card painter, Jack and the Beanstalk, a Euro singing voices of 2 villagers, Peter Pan, a Euro singer, Pirates, Rosemary, a Euro medicine man, Lady and the Tramp, a Euro Al the Alligator, singing Pound Dogs, Paul Bunyan, vocals, Sleeping Beauty, a Euro singer, 101 Dalmatians, a Euro captain, Gay Perrier, a Euro hench cat, The Sword in the Stone, a Euro Black Bart, Mary Poppins, a Euro the Bankers, Pig, Animal Sounds, Beknobs and Broomsticks, a Euro singing voice of Russian Bender, various cartoon animal voices, The Man from Button Willow, singer, Reverend, Saloon Man, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. A Euro singer of You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, Superior Duck, a Euro the narrator, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The Aristocrats, a Euro Russian cat, The Phantom Tollbooth, a Euro Lithagans, Horton Hears a Who. A Euro Wickish and Brother, The Cat in the Hat, a Euro Thing 1, Snoopy, Come Home, a Euro singer of No Dogs Allowed, The Lorax, a Euro singer, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, a Euro singer, Black Honeypot, The Hobbit, a Euro Goblins, chorus, Halloween is Grinch Night, a Euro singer, Monsters, Donnie and Marie, Darth Vader narrator, The Small One, a Euro Potter, Rudolph and Frosty's Christmas in July, a Euro Genie of the Ice Scepter, The Return of the King, a Euro Goblins, chorus, The Brave Little Toaster, a Euro Kirby, The Little Mermaid, singer, Disney. Sing-along songs, Disneyland Fun, It's a Small World, singer of Grim Grinning Ghosts, Beauty and the Beast, singer, The Brave Little Toaster to the Rescue, a Euro Kirby, The Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars, a Euro Kirby, Lilo and Stitch, The Series, a Euro singer of Aloha, E Como Mai. Partial solo discography, Mad, Baby, Mad, a Euro 1955, I Ain't Afraid, a Euro 1956, Big Paul Bunyan, a Euro 1962, The Headless Horseman, a Euro 1965, Great Hymns in Story and Song, a Euro 1970, Nathaniel the Grobelette, a Euro 1979, Psalms and Sellers, a Euro 2002. References. External links. All Things Thurl, Thurl Ravenscroft at the Internet Movie Database, Thurl Ravenscroft at Find a Grave, THURL's grrreat. A Conversation with Thurl Ravenscroft,